Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net and it's Tuesday the 22nd of October. Thanks again for watching. Another very wet one out there for many areas this morning and into the early part of this afternoon, and looks like more wet weather is on the way. But having said that, Wednesday and Thursday are looking a little bit drier than it has been recently. Gary's got all the details for you on that in the fast forecast. The newspapers from our dear friends about low pressure next week and the storm of the century. I really don't think it's going to be quite that bad. There will be some windy weather around and normal autumnal gales. Interesting to see though that many of the models don't all agree with each other. This is the ECMWF and it's the analysis from midnight last night. You see low pressure out towards the west of the British Isles. So if we just knock it on, you'll notice how the low pressure stays with us really right the way through the rest of this week and into next weekend as well. And in fact, what it does is it deepens low pressure up towards the north of the country. Remember me talking about this mass of cold air up towards the north here. I was talking about that yesterday. And what it does is it just enables that cold air to deepen the lows past them eastwards. And eventually, look, you notice here, by next, when are we on the 29th? Next Tuesday, brings a northerly flow down through the British Isles, well, a northwesterly flow down through the British Isles. So it's hinting at cooler weather on the way. And then it deepens off another low out in the Atlantic by the time we get into the end of the month. And it's that one that it tends to make most of by next Thursday. There it is, looks centred to the west of Scotland. Now, just compare that to the Canadian. So this is the Canadian, there's the times for the Canadian again. If we just go forwards, there's our area of low pressure. Look, yeah, it's still dominated by low pressure right the way through this week and into next weekend. Little areas of low pressure though, interesting to note on this one. Look, you notice the small areas of low pressure that it's starting to form through the weekend and into early next week. And really that's probably more realistic in a way, because that's what you'd expect to see when you've got a jet stream such as this that's blown to here, very strong jet stream. Those are more the little systems that you would expect to see forming along the jet stream itself. Now, into the early part of next week, look what happens. This is the chart for the 28th. So this is the chart for Monday, deep area of low pressure, as you can see there. It tries to centre it across southern parts of Ireland, but very deep centre. Isobars surrounding it, strong winds on that. That would be 70-mile-an-hour gusts and some heavy bursts of rain. So the Canadian certainly sees it and then clears it away towards the east, with cooler weather developing for all of us before another area of low pressure then comes in by Thursday and into Friday of next week. So the Canadians certainly do want to keep us very unsettled. Now, this is the ECMWF ensemble. It was the operational we saw before. The ensemble, very similar really, just keeps low pressure in control. Does have a tendency to try and bring the cooler air in for a time, but then brings another area of low pressure to us to the northwest of Scotland by next week. Now, I think the problem with this one is that the ensemble is trying to flatten things out too much. It's not really seeing much of the detail in there. This is the GFS. This is from weatheronline.co.uk. Just keep your eye on the time up here in the top left hand corner and watch what happens, because if you remember, the jet stream is flowing across the Atlantic something like so, and remember me telling you about small lows getting spawned off it. Well, watch this area out towards the Western Atlantic, this area in here, as we run the sequence through, and just notice how that low comes across. Look, this is the end of Sunday. By Monday it's deepening off and it's smack over the country by the early hours of Monday morning. That's what we call explosive cyclogenesis taking place there. Don't be panicked by the phrase. It's a phrase that meteorologists use every day, but it just means that that low deepens rapidly as it gets into what we call the left exit region of the jet stream. So there are these hints of this stormy weather during the early part of next week. It's not the storm of the century, it's just normal autumnal lows. Now, there'd be a huge question mark over the timing of this and which one of these storms is going to bring the strongest of the winds, because there will be some variance between them. And incidentally, the GFS then clears off that low. Look, it then brings in a cold northwesterly flow through all parts of the country during Tuesday, cooling things off. Not desperately cold, but cool enough. Snow over the Scottish mountains. And then it takes us back into a westerly during next week and brings low pressure and unsettled conditions back in once again. So there are hints there of something happening during the early part of next week, and I think we've really got to account for the chance of some severe gales. Now, something else I wanted to show you as well is just from the CFS model here. Anyway, CFS, quite interesting just to see how dominant it is with the westerly. This is week 1, and higher pressure, higher than normal heights down towards the south, lower than normal towards the north, screaming jet stream in here. That taking us through to the 27th of October. And then as we get into week 2, look, very similar conditions with this westerly blowing through. And then into week 3 and week 4, you won't be surprised to see again, look, there's our westerly strong jet stream, although that high building into the south. So we are building this idea of dry weather possibly starting to get into the south of the UK from around about the 2nd, 3rd of November, maybe a bit later than that. I've actually officially gone out to private clients saying around the 6th of November, so we'll see what happens there. And then into week 4, look, still got this westerly across the Atlantic, but notice higher than normal heights down towards the south, building their way northwards, so it could be that dry weather does finally get in. Wouldn't be too cold on this scenario either, maybe some overnight slight frost, but actually daytime temperatures would stay pretty mild. Now, of course, we've seen in the news the problems with the fires that there's been down in New South Wales, and these charts just show that those hot conditions are going to be continuing. Look, this is the week 1 forecast, and you notice these really hot conditions look across eastern Australia. Incidentally, just look how cold it is across eastern parts of the US. Into week 2, I'm afraid can't offer much hope really, because again, look, hot conditions cooling off thankfully further north, but still hot conditions across the southern parts of Australia. Still cold look across central and eastern parts of the states. And then weeks 3 and week 4, let's just zoom in on there for you. It does start to cool off, but still look above normal temperatures across southeast Australia. We're looking at 1 to 2 degrees above normal, still quite cool over the eastern and northern parts of the states and into Canada. And then into week 4, we finally start to the back of the cooler weather, although still the hotter weather, although still hot for southern Australia and warming up according to the CFS across the east of the states. Of course, long way away, believe it at your peril. So loads going on. Need to monitor that storm system for Monday quite carefully and just see how things develop over the coming days. But for now, thanks for watching weatherweb.net, and whatever you're doing, keep the sun shining, and bye for now.